Hello, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my full spoiler review of Season 3, Episode 1 of Star Trek Discovery. Just for complete transparency's sake, I've never seen any of the Star Trek Discovery episodes, ever. I didn't know anything about it, just from what I'd read, little bits and pieces. Didn't know anything about story. I know that the cast have annoyed a bunch of people, and I know Kurtzman has annoyed a bunch of people, but I've never actually watched any, and that's why I've never done an actual review. I've just done news pieces here and there on reports and how people are handling it and X, Y, and Z. So I was asked last night by Andre, friend of the channel. I'm going to use that now because he made me watch this. Friend of the channel, Andre from Midnight's Edge, because they were doing a roundtable, and I thought, well, he wanted me to come along because his thinking was, what if someone jumps into Season 3? Because apparently it's a jump-off point. Apparently, like, it can be seen as an entry to the series, allegedly. So he wanted to see whether I did, well, like, what my thoughts were. I have many thoughts, as you can see all over here. I thought I'd do bullet points for a change because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Yeah, I've got many thoughts about this whole thing. It was, I've literally got no investment of this series at all. So here we go. Why is the future pin art? What's going on? Because we open with a beautiful scene, right? And it is. The opening to the first episode of Season 3 is actually really nicely done. Like, the composition's good. They've clearly spent, like, a fuck ton of money on this. Like, it looks great. You got this, like, holographic bird. A man waving it to one side. And we see him getting out of his bed. And then the bed disappears into pin art. Apparently, holograms are now just pin art. Everything's pin art. Please stop with the pin art bollocks. Like, it's so bad. It doesn't look good. It looks terrible. What's the obsession? It's like Alex Kurtzman took a leaf out of Michael Bay's book from one of the last Transformers. You know, when it was all jaggedy and pin art? It's terrible. There's been this phase in Hollywood for a little while where they were doing pin art, right? 2017's Power Rangers, which is crazy to think it's 2017, but 2017's Power Rangers had Zordon be a giant pin art wall art thing, and it looks terrible. It's awful. It doesn't look good. So yeah, my first point of contention is the fact that everything's pin art in the future. I hate it. Please stop it. It ruins it. Because you had this really epic opening scene, and it was epic, and it looked really, really good. And then it just goes to pin art, and I'm like, what? Please stop it. Anyway, then, ladies and gents, a giant angel machine flies from the sky, and I'm like, somewhat compelling. Woman is screaming, right? And I'm like, all right then, what's going on here? I'm interested, right? And then we see, and then, so I've got this list here. So the angel machine, I've got some gripes with the angel machine, and we'll get to the other bits and pieces in a second, right? So the angel machine, when she crash lands on the planet, she sends off into outer space after confirming that she's the only one there and she doesn't know whether they've got technology or anything like that. I'm like, what are you doing, woman? Why are you doing that? Bearing in mind, especially right hip, left hip, right there. She could barely stand up. Surely that machine has some sort of power that would be able to make you walk a bit quicker. No, would it not? I think it would. So I was really annoyed by that. It didn't make any sense to me at all. She's like, reboot. She just crash lands on this planet. And then she starts shouting at it. Why are you shouting at a machine? Like, what are you doing? She's like, computer, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, mate. You can convey urgency and distress without shouting. She's just going ballistic at a machine. Calm down. Just stop. Anyway, before she crash lands, there are two aliens in space, right? The two alien space battle. And I'm there watching it, obviously, because it's between like a human. His name's Book, who actually, good actor. Quite liked his acting. Thought he was played almost like a subdued, a very subdued characterization. But he also reminded me of like Chiwetel Ejiofor in what was it? Serenity. You know, that sort of calm, collected. I like that. I think it's good. I think there's a time and a place for that, and I like it. Especially, I've seen this woman just start shouting at a bloody machine, so it was nice to see him calm and collected. But anyway, so he's piloting one ship. He hits into the Angel machine, or she hits into him, and then an orc from Mordor comes on the screen. Apparently, orcs have emigrated from Mordor. They've now got space machines, and they're fighting dudes in space. He literally looked like an orc. What the hell is going on? What, seriously? Orc. It looked like an orc. I half expected like an Uruk-hai to come up next to him, like pull him from one side and go, "No, I'm in charge here. We eat your flesh today." Like, fuck it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So there's like the first few chunks of the episode, right? So she then gets up, and I said right hip, left hip here, because when she stood up, I could have sworn she was cradling her right hip, but then when she stands up again, right, she then starts cradling her left hip when she then starts going walk, and I'm like, there's some inconsistencies there. Anyway, as you may tell, ladies and gents, I've written Michael Burnham there because I didn't know Michael was a girl. I'm there watching this episode, right? And when she gets up, she puts her Starfleet communicator on, and she's like, "Michael Burnham, Starfleet officer 0485 SHC," or some, I don't know, some crap like that. Michael Burnham, but she's got tears in her eyes. So I'm like, she must have lost someone, right? I genuinely thought the communicator that she puts on herself was this Michael Burnham's. I was like, oh, she's lost. She's lost someone, and that's maybe he handed it to her, right? This Michael Burnham. Get to the end of the episode, Michael Burnham's her. Could you have chosen a more masculine name? Alright, my name's Mikey Burnham. Fuck me. Like, honestly, you genuinely couldn't have chosen a more masculine name for a character. I don't know any woman in human history called Michael. Michael Burnham. What are you doing? It's like they wrote Michael Burnham as actually someone else, right? Or the whole characterization was actually a dude. And then someone came in and went, "No, we've got to fit a quota here. You have to include a woman as the lead." And then they just went, "All right, whatever then." And they were like, "So you're not going to change the name?" And they're going to like, "No, because you're forcing us." Like, it almost seems like a petulant child wrote Michael Burnham as a man, because it's a man's name. And then they were just like, "No, we're not changing the name now." So there. Like, fuck, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, then, ladies and gents, we learn that the Federation is no more, right? Somewhat compelling. But why is it no more? The self-awareness is incredible. Apparently, the galaxy took a hard left and the burn happened. Is that not what's happening in the United States right now? Is the hard left not happening? And is it not on fire? There is no explanation that anyone can give me that makes any sense with respect to that. I fucking cannot believe they did that. Now, I'm aware that they recorded this in early 2019, right? I'm aware. But Jesus, you would have thought they'd have ADR'd in something else. The galaxy took a hard left and the burn happened. Or after the burn. It's like, right. So, are you saying that you now want America to go hard left because everything's on fire? Or Do you see what... I'm in disbelief. I genuinely cannot believe it. Why is there not 20 YouTube videos about this? I guess a lot of people are used to it, but I watched it and I was like, jeez. Jeez Louise. Didn't make any sense to me. Anyway. Then you can see I wrote, she has to get high to have emotions. She was pretty wooden, unless she was shouting, right? Up until that point. And then she gets high. That whole thing was incredibly bad. Oof. They use like real bad motion blur to like give the illusion of her being high, and I'm like, it doesn't look good. Like it hurts your eyes after a while, and they're aware of that. That's why they're like intercut with other bits. And it's terrible though. It's awful, and it's just so like just cringy and out of place. Like not good. And then I also want to go back to the fight between Book and apparently Michael Burnham, because apparently that's a dude's name. Apparently a woman's name now. The laws of physics don't apply. Like she's able to beat him up. Like this is a big black guy here. Like what are you doing? Seriously? Come on. Like what are you doing? Unless you've got implants, how are you able to beat him up? I don't get it. Anyway, whatever. And then I want to get on to the closing part of this episode. Mr. Starfleet. So we open with this guy, and I like when episodes bookend. You know, when you open it and then you close with the same guy. So we find out who Mr. Pinart Life is. He's a Starfleet officer, allegedly a Starfleet officer. And Michael Burnham goes to this abandoned Starfleet space station, and goes to him and says, "Oh, can you search for my ship?" And he's like, "Yes, no, of course, yeah, absolutely." Pulls literally just does this. Pulls holograms out of his ass, and he goes, "No, I can't find them. Sorry." So anyway, and then she's like, "Oh no, that's no good. I'm from the past. Oh no." Due to the laws of quantum theory and Starfleet mechanics, they could arrive tomorrow or 1,000 years in the future. Oh no, she starts crying, right? I shit you not. This guy then just turns around and goes, again, no word of a lie. She starts crying after she says that. They cut straight to him, and he goes, "Do you want to know another secret, Mr. Michael Burnham, Mrs. Michael Burnham? I'm not a Starfleet officer." I'm like, what are you doing? What is this dialogue? Like, it looks, what? So I'm left thinking, right, that either he's on the spectrum, right, and that's not like, it's not an offence, it's genuinely how it's portrayed, or the highest likely part of it is they've cut a bunch of dialogue out, or they just can't write. She's crying. Why would you suddenly go, "Do you want to know another secret? I'm not a Starfleet officer"? What? No one cares, mate. No one cares. What are you doing? Anyway, it was rubbish. I have watched episode 2. I might do a review on it if you want me to. But I can't see... I don't see the appeal. And I've got no investment at all in this series. I've just torn it apart there. If you can tell me why I'm wrong about these things, love to hear it. Love to hear it. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. You probably won't. Do hit the bell notification icon. Thanks so much. Take care.